I'll say that you are tuned into LocalMotion here on 91.3 WVKR Independent Radio. And speaking of Colony, I have co-owner on the phone, Neil.
Hello.
Hey, we're live. It's always a good start if I know I don't drop the call. So thank you for being here today.
Oh, no, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Great. I just started the show off with a duo that will be at your place this weekend.
I know. Oh, they played a bunch last year as well. They're fantastic. Really enjoyable stuff.
Really talented guys, right? Yeah, mm-hmm. Both of them
and
together.
Very nice, too. Yeah. Very nice guys. Really cool.
And that always helps. So I just want to tell listeners here of LocalMotion that we are speaking with co-owner of Colony Woodstock, Mr. Neil Howard. And let's delve in a little bit. Let's talk about your musical history, if you don't mind. I understand you're from the Bay Area.
Yeah. I'm from just outside of San Francisco, the East Bay of San Francisco, a little town called Lafayette.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And lived in San Francisco proper for a number of years, but I definitely grew up in the region.
And your start with being into music, I know you're into theater and music. How did all of that come about?
Boy, I mean, I when I was growing up, my ambition, was just creative in general, and I wanted to be an actor, and I still do some acting, of course, but somehow I got the music bug, I think, just through roommates and stuff, kind of in my late teens and early 20s, which was very late start in my mind. So I was always very hesitant to get out and play, and I finally started playing out when I was pushing 30, basically. So I was very much a late bloomer, but I really just took to it, and I really enjoy it, and met my wife through music, and the best man at my wedding, and a lot of my greatest friends in my life have been because I picked up guitar. So it's a very special relationship for me.
Yeah.
So,
music is something. It doesn't matter what age I think you start with, as long as you start.
Yeah, and keep at it, of course. I mean, It has to be very much a passion that you don't really, there are times when I don't touch the damn guitar for, weeks or months, and then I come back to it, and I feel like I've been practicing anyway, because you have all these, thoughts in the meantime, and they come right back to you. So.
Did you take guitar lessons, or are you self-taught?
I'm essentially self-taught, which means I'm not that great. But, no, I've had a few lessons here and there, and obviously, the uncle or the friend who showed you a couple things, and you figured it out. And, it's a simple... I mean, I'm not much of a band guy at these points, more like a solo singer-songwriter, so it's acoustic guitar, kind of simple and forgiving when you're just playing along with yourself.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow.
But I do think it's an interesting angle because, having been on the musician who shows up at the gig side of things, I think I'm uniquely sort of suited to be the gig now and know what a musician expects and how to respect their situation and their attitude. And,
I think it's a win-win for the musicians because you know what it's like to be in their shoes. So
absolutely, and I dare say not everyone does.
Yeah,
so it's
no,
very important to know.
That's from what I hear with venues. That's exactly what I hear. It's like when you get a great venue owner, and you see that you have the same people keep coming, wanting to come and be booked at your place. So that's
exactly, and that's a huge feather in the cap to know that people want to come back and really enjoy their experience and they tell friends. And I mean, when we were open inside, it got easier and easier for my booker, Mike Campbell, to get calls back from pretty major acts because they had heard through the grapevine that we had done right by friends of theirs or somebody they toured with, or so it's the word spreads.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. And your wife, of course, you and your wife Lex moved to the Hudson Valley. What, about 15 years ago?
Oh, pretty much. I think we bought a place in Woodstock in 2009. So not quite 15, but yeah.
And
it was just a classic story of. Sorry, go ahead.
No, please tell us. How did you find the Hudson Valley? I always love asking people how they found us here.
I think it's one of the more cliched versions of it. Essentially, we were living in Manhattan. We'd moved from California like 3 or 4 years before, and we'd left our car in California in my brother's garage. And he basically said, come and get it, or I'm going to sell it. So we basically did a road trip, flew out there and visited friends and family, and then drove the car back to New York, and then immediately realized, like, what do you need a car for in Manhattan? unless you use it, unless you go out of town sometimes. And the very first time the day trip experience was, I just kind of looked at my wife and said, "Hey, look, Woodstock is a 2-hour drive. Let's just go for it. I want to visit Woodstock." And that was that. We just drove here. We wandered around for the day. Ended up essentially standing on the corner, looking in the window at one of the real estate places.
Yep.
And a very lovely lady, Rusty, who has since passed away, sadly. She came out and invited us in and said, "You look like a fun couple, and you're looking for a cottage or something. Let me try to find you something." And so the next week or so, she sent us a bunch of listings for some, lovely homes and various things. And then one of them was this beautiful, very old, restored barn with a theater space inside it, like a cabaret space.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And immediately just fell in love with it. It was the first place we looked at the day we came back, and, made an offer, and, the rest is history, essentially. We just started staying here all the time. I started staying here a lot. And then flash forward a couple of years, the Colony, we had been there a bunch. Every time it was open, because it was open rather,
sporadically
in the time we were around.
Yeah.
So we always showed up when we saw the lights were on. It was exciting, and it was such a beautiful space, and it needed a lot of love. And then one day we saw there was a for sale sign, and we just sort of had a talk about it and said, should we try this new adventure? Because I've never owned a venue before, but I've worked in a lot of, bars and restaurants, and, it feels like my kind of home base, atmosphere. So I thought I might have a decent shot at sprucing it up and getting it back to life, and here we are.
Well, that's putting it mildly. Let's go back in time and talk about the history of this beautiful building, originally opened in 1929, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1929, just don't know the exact date, and I wish I could, and I'll probably come across it someday, because there's a lot of papers still in boxes around here. But just a few months before the stock market crashed, so it was kind of some poor timing. I think they did okay in the 30s, but then it got kind of looted and messed up during World War II, and it just had a sort of a rocky existence, seemingly, until we had it.
Yeah. Wow.
Like an owner would retire, and their son or nephew wouldn't really want to do anything, but they wouldn't sell it. Stuff like that. It just sort of sat there for a long time. Yeah.
Every time until you and Lex bought it, I walked in there. I've been around here since the 70s. And every time, I've seen like Medeski, Martin, and Wood there, like back in the 90s. Just like, we all have stories of that beautiful place. And every time, like you, I went in there, I'm like, I just wish someone would come in and just love this place the way it needs to be loved. And
I was really shocked by that, especially given the fact that it's in, a beautiful central location in a musical town. And, I've had many conversations with people from here, born and raised from, age 20 to 90, and they've all said they've walked by it their whole life and wondered why it wasn't more alive, it's a beautiful ballroom. It's not like somebody couldn't see the potential. And you hear about back in the heyday in Woodstock when there was 20, nightclubs or at least musical venues and bars everywhere. It was even dark during that era. It's really strange. On the one hand, I've been actively grateful about it, because it would be one thing to have everyone come up to me and like, "Oh, Neil, you did a great job with the place, but back when old Joe had it, it was crazy good." So there's like no kind of comparison, and nothing against anybody, any of the previous owners. They did what they could.
Right.
But it was just it was a fairly it was easy to put a fresh aspects to it, because it hadn't been done in a long time.
Yeah. I remember walking in the first time you had reopened it. When did you guys reopen it? 2-3 years ago?
We got it in 15 and did about 2 years of renovation, and then we opened in May of 17.
17 already. Jeez, time flies. Okay, so May 17. Yeah, so it's your 4th year anniversary here. You're 4 years. Wow, time flies.
The 3-year one happened right after COVID came down.
Yeah. I know this past year, as a venue owner, as a musician, this business has been incredibly rough. You, however, somehow are one of the lucky ones because of the outdoor property that you have.
Oh yeah, certainly. I cry when I think about how many places just did not have any sort of option for a pivot.
Right.
You know, we were very lucky that we had a large, you know, field in on you know, as our property. And my wife and I had already started the process with the town months, if not a year before COVID, about you know, getting the rights and the permits and everything to do outdoor beer garden type of thing.
Right.
And it was always going to be okay, cool, let's have meetings and let's talk about it. And it was going to be a slow process and probably kind of arduous in terms of trying to staff up that concept while having the indoor venue going gangbusters like it was at that point. So in a strange way, having been forced to sort of shut down and then being able to do only the beer garden was kind of a godsend in terms of just bandwidth, you know, just not figuring out how to staff it and how to reinvent. And so we basically got to do our beer garden as we wanted to. It's still technically a temporary thing. I'm you know, except the license and everything, it's all, you know, 100% legal and everything.
Right.
But we want to do a proper fence and a proper this and you know, sort of make it more built in, but that'll take a little time, of course. But we just basically got to hit the ground running on it, which was a crazy experience. You know, it was making lemonade by the gallon, essentially.
Well, I got to tell you, I was there a couple of times last summer, and I told everybody in my circle, and, you know, I always talk about, at the end of my shows, I always do musical happenings, because that's what we do on this show, is just promote the Hudson Valley. And I loved the Colony. I love the outdoor patio, the picnic tables, your stage, your sound system, top notch. You had it so organized. You have 4 or 5 acts in an afternoon, and it just so organized. And not to mention, what's really organized is your food and beverage service. And it just really well done. Nice menu selection. The food is just delightful. Really good food. Like sometimes, you know, music, you have great food. Like I don't eat before I come to Colony because I can have a wonderful, fulfilling meal. Tasty, delicious. It's just really great. Wonderful cocktails and drinks and just a really comforting, like you're in somebody's backyard. You've got such a great space back there. And you run into people. I mean, this was obviously last summer in the height of COVID, and it felt completely safe being there.
Yeah, we have it very well spread out, and I'm looking forward to, you know, tightening things up in the future when we're allowed to, because it'd be a very fun, festive environment with a few more tables and stuff. But no, it's right. I mean, that's the whole conceit I've wanted to sort of put across, was that it's a never-ending sort of picnic music festival. There's never any cover, but you know, sometimes suggested donation maybe, but generally no cover at all, and people just tip well, and the bands have been, you know, weather notwithstanding, of course, but the bands have been doing really well in terms of
really well. I want to substantiate, though, that when the shows are inside, because right now we're obviously in a different kind of world than we were 2 years ago when you were open. You have ticketed events on your inside seating when you are open inside, right? That's typically ticketed. But the outdoor, you're saying, like now with the beer garden open, it's by donation only, and you know, people know to be generous.
I want it to be a completely come and go as you please. You know, families can just wander in, have a burger, and take off, or they can stay a long time. And, you know, I never want it to be, and especially there's sort of an awkward thing where some people have said we'd love to do a ticketed thing. And I'm like, I just haven't figured out how to do that yet. I mean, I know someday in the future we will definitely do a large ticketed show out there. It's just inevitable. But at the same time, right now, it's, you know, 4 PM, and it's practically full. Everyone's having a great time, middle of their day. Some people are coming, some people are going, some people are staying there all afternoon. And then I have to clear everyone out and ask them, say, you have to go now because we have a ticketed event starting in 1 hour. And I just can't see it happening. I think it would be really just ruinous to the vibe.
To the vibe, yeah, absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree with you. Now, you have a great Facebook page where you inform people that what you got going on that day. So I suggest people follow you guys on Colony Woodstock on Facebook, right? You're located right in the
Colony Woodstock, NY.
NY.
Yeah.
And also you're located at 22 Rock City Road, right in the heart of Woodstock there. You've got a great Instagram page. And now as far as knowing who's coming up, you guys, what you're doing just on Facebook typically, right?
Yeah, well, that's a habit from last year. I mean, most of last year we couldn't announce anything.
Yes.
It was just, quote, incidental music, and we had a lot of fun with sort of that as a source of humor in a way.
Yeah.
But
you did. You were
time,
actually very creative with your posts and your writing, and I was like, "Wow, Neil, if this music thing doesn't work out, you could be a writer because you really did a great job, and you put a smile on many people's faces for sure."
Yeah, I got a lot of lovely feedback about that stuff, and actually, it was good to sort of have a daily writing assignment again. It's always good for the creativity.
Yeah.
But what was I going to say? Totally lost my train of thought.
Outdoor, informing the public who's playing.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So we got into the habit of, when we could announce, just basically doing day of announcing. And now I'm doing the whole week if I can. And we're about to reboot our website from the ground up, and there will be a calendar page that will be populated. But
wonderful.
In a way, there's almost, it's a very strange but happy kind of dilemma, in that, we get some really great bands coming in here, and we also have a lot of fairly unknown local acts who are phenomenal, but they're not known, so there's not necessarily a draw. But on a beautiful summer day, we just kind of fill in naturally, you know what I mean? There's just people enjoying the day, and what is a bit of a concern is sometimes you put out the word that's, let's say, anybody, Cindy Cashdollar is playing at 8 o'clock, and it's like we suddenly get an extra 100 people showing up saying, like, we're here for the big show, and we're kind of at the door saying, well, we're kind of full already.
Right.
It's really kind of, it's not frustrating. It's a good problem to have, certainly, but it's almost like we benefit by playing the middle ground of having not necessarily the biggest acts we can get, because it could almost breed chaos, and it can bring in more people than the kitchen might handle all in one 20-minute period.
Now, you don't take reservations, do you? It's just a walk-in service?
Not currently.
Right.
Not currently. It just doesn't seem... That, again, goes back to the problem before of having to ask those 6 tables or something to clear out because a certain show is about to begin.
Right.
I am considering the idea of making one section semi, not VIP, but like wait services available, and you can reserve it and just sort of try it as a test balloon. But it would be the entire day. That would be the only solution to me, is having these 5 or 10 tables over here be reservable, but you can reserve starting at 3 p.m. and you sign up for basically a 2-hour stint or 1-hour slot or something. But it couldn't be like just free tables and then suddenly turn it over to reservations. It would be just clumsy.
Right. And because of the fact that you're not just opening up at 6 o'clock and having one band, you're doing it totally different. You're opening. Well, give me your hours if you would, Neil.
I think they may shift yet again, because April is very different than midsummer when we first started last time. But right now we are closed on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then we do Thursday, Friday and Monday from 3 o'clock to 10 o'clock, and Saturday and Sunday from 11 a.m. to 10 o'clock.
Beautiful.
And 11 a.m. on Sundays is our musical brunch, and that's been going really good because we have this chef, Niels Nielsen, who is quite well known in the area, and he's just, oh my God, he's just unstoppable, and his brunch skills are just beyond tremendous. So
keep posting those food pictures, because if that doesn't entice you, I don't know what would.
Yeah, so I look forward to taking the picture and then eating the dish.
Yeah, exactly. And when does your music start when the beer garden's open? Are you typically around 3?
We open at 3, and generally, since it's we don't fill in right away, we start the music no earlier than 4.
Okay.
And then on the weekends, it's earlier, because sometimes, obviously, you get people all day. And we have the musical brunch on Sundays, so the band starts around 11:30 and goes to 2. And that's great. We have jazz once a month and traditional Irish once a month. and then a few kind of free radicals that we're throwing in there for fun. And then then the music just goes and goes. And we're also doing an open mic. We've actually been rained out twice already with it. So on Mondays. So that will be probably sign-ups around 5 and then just going all evening.
I love that. I love when venues give people that option to do that because, as you are well aware, that is one of the first places people start out when they leave their house, right? To play out in public. It's like, and to have that opportunity and to have you as a venue owner give that opportunity to some of the locals, that is like super cool. So bravo to you and Lex for doing that and opening up your venue that way.
My honor. I mean, the open mics in the Bay Area and in Oakland and Berkeley and San Francisco were absolutely my second home for many years, and it's where I met. Like I said, that's how I met my wife. It's how I met so many great lifelong friends, and frankly, started my first couple bands. You know, it's always like a melting pot and like a petri dish for like creating new groups and new duos and collaborations. And I love to be one of the give back by having our own. Mm-hmm. And outside it got going really strong last year, and I'm sure it'll pick up once we get going again this year. But the inside open mic, which is run by my right hand man Jim Friskel. He's the MC. He's a workhorse. He's incredible. But he hosted the open mic every Monday since like literally the first Monday we opened inside, and it became such a lovely community. Mm-hmm. There's just people coming from hours away to see friends every week, and really, really talented. I mean, obviously, there's always a few kind of knuckleheads here and there. Right. But at the same time, they one of my greatest sort of joys is looking at some young guy or girl who was like kind of a mess when they first performed, and then a year later, it's like, look how far they've come. It's so gratifying to see them because it's like a gymnasium. They show up every week and they work out and they get in great shape.
And they really watch other people perform and they're learning that way. And
exactly.
The growth is just, it's a really wonderful thing to see. I mean, I know you've got Dylan Doyle coming up at your place, but talk about watching someone grow over the years, watching him from 5 years ago to watching him now. That's the beauty of this great local music scene that we're so lucky to have here in the Hudson Valley. So,
oh my God, Dylan is phenomenal, and he's still, he's very young.
I think he's 21 or so, 20, 21. Yeah, he's very young.
It's crazy how good he is.
Yeah.
And, Connor Kennedy is another version of that. I mean, he's just incredible.
Sure. The Restless Age, all of them there. Look at Lee Falco, I mean, the whole bunch of them. We have such young talent.
We have the Restless Age playing the Beer Garden, actually, on June 26th.
There you go.
That's great.
There you go. Yeah, no, they're terrific. I love those guys. And, we call them the Hudson Valley Wrecking Crew because they could play with anybody.
We have the same kind of joke around here because they basically are like the band in a box for anybody who wants an amazing band. And we just had a friend, Steven, who just made a record with them over the last few months, and he's just over the moon about it. And they're just so ridiculously talented. Their harmonies, their musical skills, they're just... I get chills every time I hear them.
They're professionals, and of course they were the backup band for Donald Fagen a few years ago, known as the Night Flyers. I mean, you can't get more professional like that. And they're so young and they take their music so seriously and they can play any genre. And that's the beauty of it. You put them in any genre and they can kick it. They got it together. So,
Plus, they comport themselves like true professionals. They're always on time, always friendly, always ready to go, always just, I couldn't be happier with what they do.
Now, if bands are listening or musicians are listening and they would love the opportunity to be booked at a Colony, how does that work with your venue?
We do have some people reaching out directly on Facebook, just, friending and sending a message to Colony, but the simplest way to do it would be to email booking@colonywoodstock.com. That way things don't get falling through the cracks, which they sometimes do if it's like you text somebody and that person forgets to pass it on or something. So just booking at colonywoodstock.com and get the ball rolling from there.
Oh, wonderful. Now, do you see yourself opening inside this summer, or you're not even going to plan that?
Yes and no. I mean, no, I'm planning it, but basically, I just heard from my booker today that he's going to announce an indoor show. This amazing person named Adrienne Lenker, and I think she was in a band called Big Thief.
Oh,
if I think I'm getting that right.
Yeah.
But she had, I think it was either a sold out show or almost sold out show that we had to cancel last season.
Mm-hmm.
And she's coming back. We're announcing that for November, I think tomorrow. So that's sort of our first official indoor show that we're announcing.
Yay.
And of course, everything is still slightly, up in the air. I mean, who knows if we'll be at full capacity or what by then.
Right.
But there's clearly movement back towards normalcy on inside work. But what I'm hoping to do this summer is to try out yet a third kind of concept of doing kind of a cabaret supper club kind of idea,
fun.
where we have semi-high-end good food and all seated, all very safe. Maybe 60 people at most or something like that. I think we haven't really set up the floor plan, and I think we're limited to 100 inside anyway, but I would stay well below that, I think, with the way I want to set it up.
Right.
But, we could do 2 shows a night. I would love to develop maybe even like an old-fashioned kind of Catskills variety show with, a magician and a comedian and a juggler and stuff like that.
I love that. So unique.
It really... Yeah, and it's also very old-fashioned, and I just live and breathe old-fashioned kind of stuff, so I think it would be hysterical to bring back something that's kind of long gone and make it kind of an event. And, we could end up, we'd keep doing it in the long run, and it's just like a Sunday thing. We do 2 Sunday supper clubs, and then we're packing the place with Andy Frasco on Saturday night, so we can do both.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to getting that going and at least having that skill under our belts. We know what to do with a different setup and how to set up the room and what the menus are. It's what I said all the time last year. There's like nothing we can do about this situation. It's worldwide, and there's simply no point in beating yourself up or anybody else about it. It just is what it is.
Yep.
And the only solution is to be creative. And once I kind of think about it that way, it becomes a challenge and a fun one in a way, because I like being challenged and I like being creative.
Well, you certainly are a venue owner during a time of all of those things. Now, minus the pandemic, what is the seating capacity at Colony Woodstock?
Inside, we basically have a 400 capacity in general, and that's something we do when all the tables and chairs are moved to the side or in the basement, and it's just a big old, like Arrested Development was packed, and that was standing room only essentially everywhere. Generally, I'm not even sure if there's a firm number on what the seated capacity is, because it changes so much and it's very fluid, but I would say, 200 or 250 or something like that.
Right.
We have seating around the balcony and stuff like that.
Do you remember the first night, your opening night?
I do. It was wild. It was completely full. It was this gentleman named Robert Sarrazin Blake.
Sure, I know him. He was on my show here right before he played there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he actually played 2 nights in a row just to get us going. And I think Connor Kennedy jumped up there and played with him for a while, and he had an amazing band. It was, I think, because he's where is he from? He's like
Washington,
West Coast, but I can't.
Washington
there you go.
State.
Yeah.
So
he had a local band that, I mean, you can create an amazing local band in this town. There's just so many incredible players. So he just brought the house down, and it was just wild. I mean, it was a huge sprint to get open, because we were like down to the wire. Like, we had set the date, we had promoted it, and some things got done like the very day we opened, getting the liquor license straightened out and all these things. But we made it, and it was just exhausting. And I remember coming home that night, probably in the morning practically, and just falling into a deep sleep, thinking like, wow, man, that's it. We did it. It's done. And then I kind of woke up realizing like, no, you're only open now. Now you have to be open. And it's like a whole new chapter.
This isn't a one-night thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like I was a construction guy for 2 years, and I was all proud of the building being done. I was like, no, now you got to run the place and be there. And I'm like, so. But I have an amazing staff, and I've been, knock on my desk here. It's been just very lucky. I've been finding the right people for the right job over and over and over again. And
it makes all
really
the difference in the world. Your place is only as good as your staff is, and you know that for sure. Tell me about some of the renovations you guys did to the Colony.
Well, there's a lot of invisible stuff that was just not sexy, but necessary. Like there was support stuff in the basement we needed to replace, and all the floors in the kitchen areas and the bathrooms had been kind of unceremoniously just fixed with pouring more cement over the years. They just every time it sort of sank into a bowl, they would just pour more cement in. So, and I'm no carpenter, but apparently cement on it collects moisture at the bottom of it, and it just started rotting. Oh. And so we had to rip out floors that we didn't realize we had to, and start from scratch all over the place. And then aesthetically, that was the fun part. Of course, we built a beautiful long mahogany bar.
Gorgeous.
And it's as long as the room is, and it's just such a centerpiece, and a sound booth that's also looks like it's always been there. My whole stylistic sort of mandate for myself was to make it look like you can't really tell what's new and what was original.
And well, bravo, because you did just that. I mean, you can't tell.
Yeah. So I've had people say, can't believe those light fixtures, cleaned up so well after all these years. And I'm like, no, those are new. They just look appropriate,
And the sound system too, right?
Stage.
Didn't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, that's another investment we made just this summer. Is that we were basically using the interior sound system and kind of schlepping it back and forth between the building and the stage. And this year we've rebuilt the stage in a much more kind of I wouldn't say it's permanent. It's still like a flatbed, but it's got a permanent rigging above it. And we're going to mount the PA, and we built a cute little kind of wooden shed next to the stage where the sound guy can live, and the soundboard is safely tucked away out of the elements. Yep. But we basically duplicated our PA, essentially the same system, but I guess speakers are more weatherproofed. But and we have much more lighting coming in. So the stage, if it looked good last year, it's just going to be amazing this year.
Oh, really I cannot wait. Yeah. I cannot wait. Can you tell us some of the bands that you have coming up? You may not know off the top of your head, but some? Oh
yeah, well I wrote a few down here. I mean, there's as my guy Jim keeps saying, he's saying this is like the longest festival in the Catskills, and 500 bands over the summer, and it's really kind of true. I mean, if you think about it that way, so there's just so many slots that we're filling in, and of course there's weather and there's TBDs and there's cancellations and stuff. So some things will always change, but we have a bunch of monthly residencies coming up. Scott Sherrard, who's huge inspiration to me. You were saying before about watching a great player makes you a greater player, and he's a prime example of that, because I just stand there with my jaw on the floor, and he's just and he's so kind of graceful and direct in his playing too, that it's very inspirational to realize that this guy can play anything he wants. And he's playing rather simply.
Yeah. And just to let listeners know, he was the music director for Greg Allman Band, and now is part of Little Feat. I mean, so
exactly.
Talk to me. When is he playing? Is he doing a residency there?
Yeah, he's doing a monthly. I think is straight up the first Saturday of every month, starting May 8th.
Wow, there you go.
Yeah. And then we have Jay Collins doing a monthly Saturday, but that's not consistently like the third Saturday, so I don't have the date. I know that starts May 15th. A great guy, Brian Mitchell, who is one of the sort of the Levon family, and his band Fatboy Canooch. They're playing May 2nd.
Oh my God, they killed it at your place last summer, didn't they?
Oh yeah, no, that was actually one of our craziest nights, and we were still kind of understaffed at that time, so we were just running around going crazy. But it was a lot of fun. Now they sounded so great, and he's again just the nicest guy. Yep,
100%.
We don't have the date written down, but we have Cindy Cashdollar coming up. Daddy Longlegs, she's incredible too. We just announced, or we just locked down Tommy Two-Tone of all people.
Wow.
I guess he's in town doing an interview. I don't know if it's with you or not, but he's doing some radio spot somewhere in the area, and he reached out about doing a show, and so I can't wait to see
great.
That one.
I'll have to look into that one too. Thank you. Yeah.
And then that's June 25th for Tommy Two-Tone. Daddy Longlegs, who is kind of one of almost our house bands. They played our Halloween show, I think, every Halloween that we've been in existence. And they're just, are you familiar with them? Because
I'm not, but I need
incredible.
to be. Yeah.
They're a trio out of Brooklyn, I guess, and just sort of like a stompy blues harmonica with distortion, and very kind of screaming Jay Hawkins and gothic punky. Oh my God, they're incredible. They bring down the house,
I love it.
And you'd be yeah.
I love it. No, I'll definitely check it out because I love learning new music, and being exposed to different kind of music is awesome. So yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And another lovely man who has been he's basically staff here now because he's played with us so many times, is Robert Burt Warren. Yeah. He's doing, he did shows inside, kind of tribute nights that I actually helped out and sang on a few of them, like Tom Waits and Leonard Cohen. And we did a thing, this idea I had, basically the Colony Opry, where I wanted to just do as much kind of classic country as we could throw together.
Love it.
And that was fun, and we're going to do that again on the outdoors this year. But Robert's coming back for a monthly. I think he's going to be doing a Dylan show or a Dylan Cohen and combo stuff. But he's always just wonderful. He's such a just a beautiful man.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, listen, just the people that you just mentioned are, I mean, all amazing, and never mind all the stuff that you fill in there too. And I really suggest, people just follow on Facebook, sign up on the website if you can, if they do an email blast and all of that. And what a fun venue you guys are. And I'm so glad you have the space outside to do what you're doing, and just top caliber. I give you 6 stars out of 5. How's that?
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I thank you. Thank you for buying that building, and thank you to you and your wife for doing what you're doing for the music scene here in the Hudson Valley, because there was a little time there where Woodstock didn't really have a lot of venues going on, and
yeah, shocking.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah. It went from heyday to maybe one or, and now all of a sudden it's happening again. And in large part due to you and your tasteful renovation and just keeping it the authentic self and not trying to change it into some other sort of vibe, and just recognizing it for what it is and for the history of it. And it's you've really got a great thing going on. I'm so happy for you and Lex. And I mean, congratulations, really, and thank you for providing such wonderful music to the Hudson Valley. And please stay in touch. And when you have groups, and I'll reach out to Mike Campbell too. A large part of what I do here is I interview people that are coming to the Hudson Valley. I've had Scott Sherrard on my show 6 times. So when I know shows are coming, that's how we promote that as well. So I'm here for you guys. Anytime you need a little promotion, we're here. So please.
Oh, Rita, thank you so much.
Absolutely. So thank you. And we're going to keep playing the music here. I appreciate your time today. I know you're a busy man, Neil, and I will see you soon at Colony.
All right, Rita.
All right.
Thank you again for having me on.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, Neil Howard, co-owner of Colony, Woodstock, New York. Beautiful renovated venue. You can visit their website at colonywoodstock.com. Better yet, go to that beer garden, which is open every day except Tuesday and Wednesday. And it's right in the heart of Woodstock at 22 Rock City Road. You can follow on Facebook and Instagram. And the food is top notch. The alcohol, the booze that they have there is just great drinks, wonderful atmosphere, safe. Everything's safe. They have beautiful picnic tables, umbrellas, beautiful stage. Everything is nicely spaced. I felt completely safe there last summer, and can't recommend it enough. ColonyWoodstock.com. And right now it is 4:46. You are tuned into LocalMotion here on 91.3 WVKR. I'm your host, Rita Ryan, here each and every Wednesday. And what we're going to keep doing is playing music of the Hudson Valley, because that's what we do here. Let's take a listen right now to Mr. Pete Levin, 91.3 WVKR.
feel good, you feel love. You do good, you do love. You see the light of life, you see love. You see the light of life when you see love. How long will it take for love to touch everyone? How long are we running out of love? How long will it take for love to touch everyone? How long are we running out of love? Are we running out of love? You give love, you get love. Your heart will never grow cold when you grow love. You show love when you know love. Show love when you know love. How long will it take for love to touch everyone? How long? We're running out of love. How long will it take for love to touch everyone? How long? We're running out of love. We're running out of How long will it take for love to touch everyone? How long are we running out of love? How long will it take for love to touch everyone? How long are we running out of love? We're running out of love. We're running out of
.3 WVKR Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. The incredibly talented Ms. Amy Helm. Are We Running Out of Love? The second single of her new upcoming album, which will be released on June 18th. Couple of shows coming up at Levon Helm Studios that she, Amy Helm, will be part of. And let's start by saying that she's going to start April 25th. The show is sold out, but there is a web stream available. So April 25th, that's, this weekend, an evening to be grateful with Amy Helm and friends. Again, the show itself is sold out, but web stream is available. You can get info at levonhelm.com. Also, Amy will be performing with Joan Osborne at Levon Helm Studios on May 9th. And she'll be there with the Midnight Ramble Band, 2 shows on May 29 and May 30. I believe they're both sold out. So that's the thing with Levon Helm Studio. When they say tickets go on sale, you need to be right on the computer to get them because limited capacity, especially nowadays. So shows tend to sell out quickly. So look forward to listening to this whole album of Amy Helm's that's coming out very soon. So stay tuned. You can follow her social media website, amyhelm.com, and check out the 2 new singles that already have been released off the new album. And stay tuned. Fingers crossed that she'll be on LocalMotion soon. Fingers crossed. Let's see. Also, getting us started on this set, Pete Levin, Mobius is the release. We heard Promises, featuring Nanny Asis on percussion, Jeff Chiampa on guitar, Alex Foster on sax, Pete Levin, of course, on piano and organ, Tony Levin, his brother, on bass, Chris Payson trumpet, and Lenny White, the legendary Lenny White, on drums on this album, which was released in 2017. Pete Levin. Pete Levin will be performing the first outdoor patio show at Lydia's Cafe in Stone Ridge on Saturday, May 1st. You must call for a reservation, and you can get information at lydias-cafe.com. So Pete Levin will be performing with Mike D'Amico on guitar and Jeff Siegel on drums. So the trio will be playing at Lydia's Saturday, May 1st. So lots of great music coming up. And thank you again to Neil Howard, co-owner of Colony in Woodstock, for a wonderful discussion and lots of great, exciting things happening, and their outdoor beer garden, which is now open every day except Tuesday and Wednesday. Visit colonywoodstock.com and Facebook page so you can see all the great pictures. As Neil was saying, the food is pretty outrageous there. And yeah, just a great place to be. Lots of music coming back, folks. We have a lot of outdoor music to look forward to now that the season is finally getting a little bit, more inviting to outdoor music. So we'll talk about that in a little bit as I do musical happenings. For now, let's keep the music going. Let's talk about this after we play it. This is Lost Leaders, 91.3 WVKR Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie.
Lights come on, it's a new dawn. Come on, someone give me a name. If you prefer a him or a her, just give the word okay. Now it's time to say hi to your AI guy. I'm not shy, I'm just dry as a bone. But soon you'll find, like a child's mind, I'm designed to grow. I will fulfill for you whatever you want me to do. I will for you. Be still, my will for you. Make your dreams come true. I will for you. Take a vacay with your bae, couple of days, hey, okay, I got your back. It's no problem, brother, got your job covered, it's a snap. Oh, I went online, blew my mind, it's like I was blind, now I find I can see. Too much, what a rush, I'm opened up, I'm free. I will fulfill for you whatever you want me to do. I will for you. Be still, my will for you. Make your dreams come true. I will for you. Human history is a pisser to me. I can really see why it took you so long. Never fear, it's clear why I'm here. I won't steer you wrong. Make your dreams come true. Make your dreams come true. I September the 12th, you and I grew up apart in parallel from across the class. I could tell something was clicked and locked in place. A smug little smile you wore on your face set me off, and I just knew I wanted to get closer to you. I wanna get closer to you. I wanna get closer to you. I wanna get closer to you, but you won't let me. Fleeting glance, the sound of the bell, through glassy eyes I could tell there was mutual magnetic pull. We both look away to be too cool. How can it be? The mystery isn't this easy. Are we meant to be? Will your dad agree? Will your mom approve? 'Cause I wanna get closer to you. I wanna get closer to you. I wanna get closer to you. I wanna get closer to you, but you won't let me. Oh, what sweethearts we could have been. All the things now I didn't know back then. What if I found out I could go back in time? Would you be mine? Looking back, I should have asked. I see you now and again with the passing of my thumb, and I turn blue. I always wanted to get closer to you. I wanna get closer to you. I wanna get closer to you. I wanna get closer to you, but you won't let me. I wanna get closer to you. I wanna get closer to you. I wanna get closer to you. You won't let me. Want to get closer to you. I wanna get closer to you. I wanna get closer to you. You won't let me. I want to get closer to you. I wanna get closer to you. I wanna get closer to you. You won't let me. Wanna get close.
91.3 WVKR Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. The incredible group Neil Howard and I were just talking about. That was The Restless Age that we just heard. Their newest released single titled Closer to You. Restless Age consists of Lee Falco on drums, Will Bryant on keys, and Brandon Morrison on bass. And you can hear the three of them. Their voices are just incredibly beautiful. The harmonies that they have together are just really, really stellar. And to see them perform live is the thing that you got to see, because they're so good. So good. They were also, as I discussed with Neil, the backup band for Donald Fagen's tour. I think it was 3-4 years ago. They were the Night Flyers. So it was Donald Fagen and the Night Flyers, and these guys, the Restless Age, were the Night Flyers. So you can see them perform live. They do have a show coming up inside at Bearsville Theater in Woodstock, bearsvilletheater.com. Limited tickets, of course, available, but they'll be there. And as Neil Howard just said, they will also be at Colony Beer Garden outside on June 26th. And you can visit the Restless Age at their website and all over social media. You'll be so happy that you did. We also heard Lost Leaders off their release, Promises, Promises. And that came out a couple of years ago, produced by David Barron. I'm looking for my copy, bear with me. And produced by David Barron. Also, part of the Lost Leaders is two of the members of The Restless Age. Lee Falco plays drum for Lost Leaders, as well as Will Bryant being the keyboard player for Lost Leaders. Lost Leaders, I know they're working on a new album. I cannot wait to hear what they've got coming out. When they do, we'll definitely have them back as guests on LocalMotion. They've been here several times. Peter Cole, of course, and Byron Isaacs. So the both of them are Lost Leaders. So stay tuned for that and look forward to hearing what they've got coming out next. We're going to keep the music going. It's 5:08. You are tuned into LocalMotion. I'm your host, Rita Ryan, here each and every Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m. And let's play some music from the legendary Happy Traum here on 91.3 WVKR.
I've been hanging out uptown in the low down rain, watching good time Charlie friends, it's driving me insane. And up on shady Charlotte Street where the green light turned red, wish I was back home on the farm in my feather bed. Gonna give myself a rocking chair, see if I can lose these thin dime hard times hell on Church Street Blues. Found myself a paper friend I read yesterday's news, folded up page 21, stuffed it in my shoe. Paid a nickel to the poor, my good turn for the day. Then I folded up my old billfold, threw it far away. Gonna give myself a rocking chair, see if I can lose these thin dime hard times hell on Church Street Blues. I wish I had some guitar strings, that old black diamond brand. I'd string up my Martin box and go and join a band. But I guess I'm gonna sit down here and pick and sing a while, try to make me a little change and give you folks a smile. Gonna give myself a rocking chair, see if I can lose these thin dime hard times hell on Church Street Blues.
Chosen family. You're my chosen
91.3 WVKR, the beautiful voice of Annalise, the duo Annalise and Ryan, chosen family. They are the hosts of the monthly live stream called The Valley Hour. Beautifully done, produced, recorded, the sound top notch. Every month since, I think, September, they've been hosting the Valley Hour. It is now a free concert. Donations, of course, always gratefully accepted. And it is recorded live from the Howland Cultural Center in downtown Beacon, New York. Tomorrow, the 22nd, they will be featuring Aaron Parks and Rebecca Haviland, along with Whiskey Heart. So you get to kind of see Annalise and Ryan do some music. You get to see Aaron and Rebecca, and then you also get to see Whiskey Heart. It's an hour-long feature. I believe it starts at 8 p.m. You can get info and download your little link at thevalleyhour.com. Annalise and Ryan, they've been doing a great job with that live stream and supporting the local musicians that they've had on every month. So congratulations, you guys. Super happy for you. Also heard the legendary Happy Traum off his release, Just for the Love of It. We heard Church Street Blues, written by Norman Blake. This is such an album. HappyTraum.com, by the way, was released in 2015. Listen to the guests that are on this album. I mean, the who's who of Woodstock, including David Amram, Marco Benevento, Larry Campbell, Justin Guip, Byron Isaacs, Jerry Marotta, Abby Newton, John Sebastian, Martin Simpson, Adam Trown, and Teresa Williams. Hello. It's a 14-track release. It's, again, called Just for the Love of It. Happy Traum and Larry Campbell produced this, and it's just top notch. He's been on the show, I think, 2 or 3 times. I do hope he writes a book. He's as legendary into folk music as you can get. And every time I've talked to him, I feel like I get a history in folk music. He was part of the Greenwich Village scene. He was the first guy in a recording studio with Bob Dylan when Bob Dylan recorded Blowing in the Wind. Happy Traum was there. Whew. And he's our Woodstock neighbor. So happytraum.com. Also owns Homespun Tapes. You can just learn about him by going to his website, happytraum.com. And last week's guest was so much fun to talk with, Scott Petito. And I'm going to play a track of his now. Let's take a listen to this. 91.3 WVKR, called Rainbow Gravity. 91.3 WVKR. Hollis Brown, their debut album titled Ride on the Train. We just heard Down on Your Luck. This was released back in 2013. Mike Montali was just a guest here on Local Motion a few months back when they did their first Falcon residency. And by that, I mean the Falcon venue in Marlborough, New York. They did a residency there this winter, and they're doing another one now. They'll be back this Friday at the Falcon, and they'll also be there next Friday, which is the 30th. So 2 more shows of Hollis Brown happening at the Falcon. Restaurant is open Friday through Monday. You can go to their website and see all the wonderful things happening at the Falcon. The beer garden outside is opening up on May 1st, live at thefalcon.com. We also heard Scott Petito's release called Rainbow Gravity.